Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit about consistency versus commitment. This is something I posted about earlier today on my feed. And I think that when it comes to business, tackling any task, any milestone, we hear a lot about consistency, right? You have to be consistent. Consistency is key. If you want to achieve anything, you have to stick to it and be consistent and do something every single day in order to get to your goal, right? It's kind of what we've been taught our entire lives, and with good intention, right? It's not that anyone who's saying this to us is, has any malicious intent. It's just something that doesn't work for everybody and can be misconstrued in a way that doesn't honor multiple energy cycles. So when we think about consistency, normally what we see is very rigid, masculine, daily routines and things that we feel like we need to do on a daily or weekly basis, or else we're going to lose momentum. We're going to fall off the wagon. We're going to be forgotten, right? Like, let's just think about creating content. Most of the Instagram gurus and like social media teachers are like, you have to show up consistently. Consistency is key on social media. Don't you dare fall off. And if you do, make sure it doesn't happen again. I was literally listening to a podcast where this teacher was saying, it was like a Q&A. And one of the questions was like, what do I do if I've fallen off of my social media routine? And the person answering was literally like, just make sure it doesn't happen again, figure out why it happened and make sure that you prevent it from happening, right? Like, life is going to happen. There are going to be times where social media is not at the top of your priority list. You're literally going to say, fuck social media if you're going through loss or grief, or you're in a depressive cycle, or you're struggling with anxiety, or you're struggling with panic, or whatever it might be, right, in your life. And social media doesn't need to be something that you are rigidly consistent on, regardless of how you feel and your moods and your energy cycles. Like, that is extremely unhealthy, and we're not meant to be, like, our brains are literally not designed to be taking in all of this information at such rapid speeds in the way that we are doing with social media, right? So this entire bullshit around keeping up and consistency and keeping up daily and doing all these things, it really is it's really like the wounded masculine in full effect, right? So wounded masculine is the doing, the overdoing, the hustle, this like rigid action where you feel like you're not allowed to give yourself space to breathe or to be, in order to show up in the name of productivity, in the name of efficiency, right? And this leads to very harmful, not to mention it doesn't even apply or work for a lot of people. It's not even the most effective method in showing up, right? Forcing someone to be consistent and saying consistency is key over and over and over again is not the thing that's going to create the most incredible results, right? This also goes hand in hand with like that never give up trope where like, you just have to keep going as long as you never give up, like never quit, quitters are losers, all of these things. And that's bullshit too. Like, if something is no longer aligned to you, if you literally just don't want to do it, it's fine if you literally just quit it, right? I think that there is just so much messaging around this and the way that we're taught growing up around quitting and letting go and consistency and all these things we feel like we have to do in order to keep up and in order to create results. So what I teach to my clients and what I embody in my business and in my life is not consistency. I'm not very consistent with a lot of things, but I am very committed in my own way, right? So for me, when I show up on social media and create content, it isn't because, oh my gosh, consistency is key. I have to show up every single day or else I'm going to lose followers. Like, fuck, I cannot give less of a fuck about the people, like the number of people following me, as much as I care about serving my people, about serving my community, like waking up and literally asking, what do my people need to hear today? And what do I want to share today? And letting that kind of meet and intertwine and just trusting that whatever comes through is exactly what my people need to hear, right? I'm not showing up for the sake of, oh, I got to pull something out of my ass so that I can be consistent. If I don't feel like I have anything to say, I just don't say it. And if that continues for a week, I don't post for a week, right? I don't force myself to, okay, what is my like, know, and trust? How can I build this so that my community is engaged with me? I'm like, this is not some robotic AI programming where I live by the Instagram algorithm, right? I live and breathe and believe in the spirit of my business and the spiritual algorithm that will bring people to me magically without me even knowing how and without them even knowing how sometimes. Like I get messages all the time where people are like, I don't even remember how I found you, but I've been following you for a while, blah, 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 and then reaching out to me, right? Or people like reaching out, like today I posted this on my story. It's still up there, where someone messaged me and was like, I found you from Manifestation Babes podcast. And I recorded that with her months ago, right? It's been almost like, I don't know. I feel like it's been a really long time. Might not have been, but it felt like a really long time. And I don't even, really promote like a lot of the podcasts that I'm on, but she just found me. She just happened upon that episode, found my page, shared that she had manifested like a 6K brand deal after listening to that episode and felt like she wanted to share that with me. And I was like, amazing, right? Like I trust that the spirit of my business will just bring people to me and is the actual reason that I am showing up as this vessel in which my magic is meant to come through, in which my medicine is meant to come through. And so this doesn't have anything to do with me abiding by the algorithm in which Instagram has created. It is more me trusting that the right people are just going to find me. The right people are just going to stumble upon my content. I'm going to say whatever feels right to me, and that is valuable. Trusting that whatever I have to say is valuable and has nothing to do with fucking consistency and showing up every single day and, doing things on a daily basis, right? Like if you want to grow your business, you have to do this on a daily basis. You have to stack all these habits and all of that bullshit. It just literally makes my brain hurt. Like I can't time block or plan my schedule to save my life. Right. And I'm probably going to end this year at like $400,000 and I don't do any of that shit. And I promise you do not have to either. Like there is no rule that is telling you that you need to show up in your business in a certain way. And so what I teach my students instead is finding a commitment and establishing and identifying an emotion that you want to feel when something is accomplished, right? So for ADHD brains specifically, this is going to resonate with you because ADHD brains are not incentivized by sometimes money, or even finishing a goal. There's days where like I could give less about making money. Like I can care less about, specific goals, like the actual feeling of like achieving a goal or like making that money. I am very money motivated. Obviously, I talk about money all the time, but there are days where my ADHD brain is just like, that's just not going to do it for me today, right? But when I think about the emotion, when I think about how I will feel when this thing is created or when I hear responses or whatever, right? Like a lot of the times it's just fun. A lot of the times it's just joy, right? So that's my incentive rather than money or a specific goal being achieved, right? Because for a lot of us who have ADHD, that's just not going to do it. It's just never going to be done. We do not like tasks. We do not like to-do lists. We do not like just checking things off. In fact, something we hate, right? So if you have an ADHD brain, thinking about like, how do I want to feel when this is achieved? Like, what do I want to feel after this, this transformation or this thing has been created? So yeah, that's one of the things that is really powerful for me. And then like, instead of time blocking your calendar and figuring out a task for every single hour of the day, which like is another thing that just makes me want to cry. I don't know how anyone can do that. I don't even think that's like, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. If it works for you, great, good for you. It doesn't work for a lot of people, and I'm speaking to the people that this doesn't work for. Okay, I'm speaking to the people with ADHD brains, the people that get left out of these conversations because most of the world is so neurotypical that they cannot give a rat's ass about people who are neurodiverse and whose brains don't operate in this same way that they think everyone's brains operates in, right? Neurotypical people typically think that everyone has the same brain as them, and it doesn't work like that. And this also creates so much shame for my ADHD friends, where we feel like we have to show up in this way and we feel like our brain has to finish things and do things in this certain way. And when it doesn't, and when we find out that doesn't work for us, we think, oh my gosh, there must be something wrong with me, right? And so what I am proposing is, instead of rigid daily consistency, finding rhythms. Okay. I love the word rhythm because there is no structure to a rhythm. If you know music, if you play, write music, whatever, right? You understand this. Like, there's no structure to rhythm. It's something you create. Like, people literally creating beats and songs and just like flows, right? It's a flow. It's not something that has a committed daily consistency, right? That can be tracked and duplicated. Your own rhythm, literally, what's that phrase? Dancing to the beat of your own drum. That's literally what you're doing, right? You are literally creating something that is your energetic blueprint in the way that you show up in your work and in your life and in your business. And the reason why following somebody else doesn't work is because your brain, your energy, your goals, your emotions, your body, your somatic responses, your nervous system, your lineage, it doesn't work just copying somebody else, because you are a completely different energetic blueprint than them, right? So this goes into human design. This goes into your brain matter. This goes into your energetic cycles. This goes into whether or not you have a feminine or masculine energy cycle, right? So much of the 9-to-5 world is created by men for men who have 24-hour energy cycles. It still shocks me that a lot of people don't know this, right? And I didn't know this until, a little bit ago. But women, we have lunar cycles. We bleed every month. We have menstrual cycles. So we have weeks where we're very tired and drained, and we have weeks where we're very energetic and we're very in flow with what we're creating, right? We're meant to create and rest and birth this cycle because we're creators, we're feminine beings, okay? And much of the 9-to-5 world, corporate world, 9-to-5, Monday to Friday, is created by men who have 24-hour energy cycles. And so they are literally designed to show up in a different way than women. And again, this is another thing that we will shame ourselves for because we feel like we're not showing up in the way that we're supposed to, which is what? What is supposed to? What is professionalism? What is efficiency? It's created through white supremacy. It's created through neurotypical supremacy. It's created through industrialism and capitalism, okay? That's and sexism, misogyny, the patriarchy obviously plays a whole part in this. And I talk about this all the time. And so it creates women, specifically women of color, neurodiverse women, feeling like we need to literally, and it takes us so much more time to get something done that would take a neurotypical person like this amount of time, it would take us this amount of time. And then we mask that we're okay and it's fine. Everything's fine. But you're doing so much extra work, even if it's just emotional work, emotional burden. It's taking up mental real estate in your brain. And it's so much more exhausting for you because your brain operates in a different way, right? So that's something to really think about, is something that is created for someone that can be easily done, right? Might not be something that's easily done for you. And being honest with yourself about that and honoring that is going to be really, really important. And this is why I say find teachers that resonate with you. Find teachers that understand what it is like to navigate your energy. So for example, I like talking about manifestation, imposter syndrome, and like I'm a generator, and self-sabotage when it comes to specifically women of color, right? Because when you're learning from a white woman, or you're learning from a non-person of color, right? A white person, they don't understand and have that same capacity of lineages that have trauma and oppression in them. Like, we all have that to a certain degree, but when you are a person of color, if you are a child of immigrants, you have a level of oppression and trauma and racism that is a circumstance. It is real. It is factual. It is not something that we are creating in our brains. It's already there from the day we were born, because through epigenetics, we carry our grandma and our great-grandma and our great-great-grandma's wounds and pains inside our wombs. Like, literally, that's why it's so powerful to release, move your hips and dance and clear your sacral chakra and Reiki and all of those things, right? But your sacral chakra is where you hold a lot of this pain, a lot of this, just a lot of this wounding is the right word. And so this affects the way that we show up and think about the world, and manifestation is all about our reality, or our perceived reality, or the frame of reference that we have that comes from our subconscious mind. And so when you are learning from a white teacher as a woman of color, as a child of immigrants, as someone who has that lineage of oppression and trauma, it's not something that they might be able to understand in their scope, not because there's something wrong with them or there's something bad about them. It's just that it's so... They have a level of privilege, if not financially, then racially, that a woman of color is not able to resonate with, right? A white teacher or coach or mentor doesn't have that same scope literally in their body, and they can educate and learn about it and be a very, very well, and they can work with DI coaches, all of these things, right? And there are all these things that are just not within their scope of reference. And that's okay, right? Like, it's not something that, we have to shame them for. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that when you're learning when you're learning about manifestation or imposter syndrome or self-sabotage from a white teacher, their scope of realization and reflection and their self-image is literally brought up by, and this is a generalization, by the world telling them that they can have what they want. Right? Let's take, like, not even white women, for example, but cis heterosexual white rich males. The world literally tells them that they can have whatever it is that they want. They do not have a lot of obstacles when it comes to manifesting what they want. They do not have a lot of problems manifesting their dream reality, because the world is literally like, oh, here, have it at my expense. That is white supremacy. And that is what this country is literally grounded and built upon. Corporations, school systems, entrepreneurship, everything that you see around us, it's built and intertwined into these systems. The prison systems, right? Education, I already said that. College, right? Everything that we see, professionalism, that is literally white supremacy. When someone is saying that you are not professional enough, they're essentially saying that you are not white enough. Right? Your hair is not white enough. The way you dress, the way you speak is not white enough, right? Change your language, change your hair, change the way you dress, change the way you show up, right? That's what they're saying. And so I just want you to know, if you are a neurodiverse woman of color and you are showing up and understanding and relating and talking and understanding these concepts of imposter syndrome and self-sabotage, there is so much that is different within our family structure, the way we were raised. Somebody said earlier, and our parents getting on our cases about us not being a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer or some type of respected profession that is seen within our specific culture, in our specific racial traditions, right? Because that is just what our parents know as success, right? Because that's all they were ever exposed to. Or maybe it was hard, grueling work with their hands, right? Farmers, plumbers, contractors, cleaners, people who had to literally use labor in their work because they didn't have the privilege of being educated to have skills for specific jobs. And for those who do, they're pushing us into the educational system to pay $40,000 for a piece of paper that has our name on it for a degree, because they hustled their way to the top of the corporate ladder. And they think that because now they've done it, this is the only way their child will be successful. The only way. You want to go into art? You want to be a writer? You want to be a journalist? You want to go into music? Hell to the no. You are going to medical school, right? Or you are getting a business degree. You are getting a comp sci degree so that you can be an engineer, right? Those are the only scopes of references that our parents have around hustling and success. And so they pass that down to us. And even before then, right, there's already the oppression and the trauma. If you're a person of color, right, it's already ingrained in our DNA, and it makes us look at the world differently. And when we talk about manifestation and we hear manifestation from white teachers and white coaches and white healers, right, it is a different perspective because they don't have that reflection, that lens within everything that they think and see and do. So when we are manifesting and we're thinking about our reality, we're thinking about the world, and literally what has shaped our worldview comes from a trickle of oppression and racism and trauma, we are going to view the world differently. We are going to view our self-image differently. We are going to view so much of what we think we're worthy of versus what we don't think that we're worthy of so differently, right? Our ability to chase big dreams and goals is going to be different. Our ability to take risks is different. If you are a daughter of immigrants, you know that you live and have lived, and your parents still live, very low risk lifestyle with investments where they spend their money, with the risks that they take on a daily basis, new things that they try, right? When is the last time your immigrant parent up and decided they were going to go and do something rash and high risk? Probably not recently, right? Unless they had a second chance on life and was changing everything that they were doing. Everything, especially within my Asian culture and community, it's very, very low risk, right? Let's not spend too much on that. Let's find the cheaper option. Oh, let's not do that. That's too high of a risk. What about the return? Let's stick with the safer option, right? So if you are a child of immigrants, you are literally ingrained and taught the safer option. You are literally taught to stay in your comfort zone. You are literally taught by your immigrant parents to play it safe every single day. And that is why for entrepreneurship, when it comes to white people, it is literally so much easier in so many different respects because they don't have those same barriers, right? And so I want to loop this back into consistency and rigid work and masculine action and neurotypicalness and essentially everything that we know as normal and true and superior. All of these things that aren't normal and true and superior, they are just what we have created as a society to be normal. The only reason that neurodiverse people are even called neurodiverse, the reason that ADHD is even called a disorder is because of neurotypical people who do not think that there are people who have brains that are different than them, that they do not admit or even look at the fact that there are people who operate in a different way than them. And they haven't thought that there are people that are outside of their own scope of how their brain works and how they think and how they take action and how they make decisions, right? And so it's only a disorder because we've been left out of that conversation for so long, right? We have been left out of that because there are people, the majority who are neurotypical, have created all these systems without even stopping to wonder, is this going to fit everybody? Is this going to impact some people? Is this going to leave some people out, right? So there isn't something wrong with you. There's something wrong with the society that doesn't include us, right? You are not wrong for sleeping in, not having a routine, not planning, not having, daily stacking routines, schedules, all of these things. You're not wrong for that. We've just created a society where that feels wrong because there's so much superiority over what other people have already created, right? And so I want to loop this back into consistency versus commitment, where you do not have to show up every single day. You do not have to show up on social media every single day. You don't have to show up in your business every single day. You don't have to work every single day, right? You can have the life that you want to have and the flow that you want to have and create commitment and rhythms and devotion that feel good to you. For me and my students, my clients, we talk about devotion over discipline. I hate the word discipline. I don't think that children need discipline. I did not need discipline, right? My daughter does not need discipline. I don't teach her discipline, right? I teach her to be devoted to the things that she wants to accomplish, right? It's not always easy because the school system has its own system. I don't believe in everything that the school system teaches my daughter, and yet I do want her to go through the system, for many reasons. And so there's a lot of cognitive dissonance there. But at the same time, I think that having the self-awareness and the conversations with her really, really help. And yeah, that's like a whole other topic. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but we're not going to get into that today. So yeah, I don't think that discipline is needed in order to build a business. It's not about discipline. It's not like cold, hard, rigid, daily discipline where you do this every single day. It is being devoted and committed to what you want to create, your why, the emotions that you want to create and feel, the vision that you are building all of the time, even without actually working, right? Creating a flow within a structure, allowing yourself to honor your own cycles and your own energy is so much more important than this blanket general discipline that everyone needs to fall under in this neurotypical way of living and habit stacking and planning and scheduling. Like, fuck that, right? What feels good to you? What do you want to do? What is something you feel like you should do, but you don't really like at all? What's something that you want to drop? What is something that you want to try? Right? Those are the questions I want you to walk away with and really ask yourself whether or not there are things that are working that you want to keep doubling down on, or what are things that you don't want to do anymore, things that you want to do differently, right? Maybe if you don't drop it, maybe you reframe it or you tweak it a little bit, right? So it really is just a call inward. I believe if you're here, if you're listening to this live, if you're watching this replay, this is just a call inward from the universe. This is a divinely downloaded message. I didn't even plan on doing this. I never do. But it's just a call inward to just check in and just see what's working, what's not working, why, what do you want to keep doing, what do you want to drop, and let go of, right? What do you want to free yourself of? And giving yourself the permission to do that. Because after we have the awareness, we have to actually give ourselves the permission. Because again, that's another thing that we were taught. We were taught to ask for permission from a young age. Can I use the bathroom? Can I speak in class? Can I offer my opinion, right? Everything has been ingrained and conditioned into us from very young kids. Have a lot to say about that, but giving yourself permission to release these things that no longer serve you and show up in a way that does. Okay. All right. I love you all. Please message me and let me know if this live was helpful. I will let you all go enjoy the rest of your night or your day. And yeah, let me know if this resonated. Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.